Welcome to Retro Toy Princess. I'm Allison Troy. Today I'm coloring a page featuring Princess Leia and Hermi Odle from a vintage Return of the Jedi coloring book. I've done my usual thing and printed out a digital scan of it on Spring Hill White 8.5 by 11 cardstock paper. This time I'm not going to use Prismacolor. I'm going to use my Black Widow pencils. There are a lot of really cool rich browns and earth tones in the Black Widow sets, and I feel that really evokes the feeling and lighting of Return of the Jedi. Well, in this day and age, Star Wars figures rarely if ever come out before the new movie or TV show. During the Kenner era, it was common to get a wave or two of figures before the movie actually was released. These figures may have spoiled details or ruined some surprises, but we didn't really mind. We were just excited about having cool new figures to add to our Star Wars action figure collections. With The Empire Strikes Back, Bespin, Leia, and Luke, as well as Hoth Han, were among the first figures released. So when the first wave of Return of the Jedi figures hit, I found myself feeling rather depressed looking at the back of the card. While the first wave of figures included a Jedi Knight Luke, there was no Princess Leia listed anywhere. And the mysterious Ewoks that we'd already heard so much about were completely blacked out, so we didn't even know what they looked like. Despite my disappointment at the lack of new Leia, I did see two other characters on the back of the card that looked really cool. The first was a new type of Imperial Trooper, a vibrant red Emperor's Royal Guard. Surely he had a huge part in the movie. Look how cool he was. Also, there were a lot of cool-looking aliens, so my mom was happy. She was really into the Cantina creatures from the first movie, and she was already excited about all the different aliens she would be able to buy us for this movie. Among the aliens and Imperials, there was one figure that piqued my interest, Boussh. I figured this had to be a bounty hunter of some sort because he looked like a cross between Forlom and Boba Fett. Do keep in mind that at this time, due to Kenner's name mix-up, the character we now call Zuckuss was then called Forlom. Plus, Boussh had some sort of staff. At the time, due to my love of Tila, I really dug staffs as weapons. We found these first figures on the shelves at our local Howard's department store, and after going through all of the figures on the pegs, we were not able to find Boussh or even Luke, who was my brother's first choice. But my second choice was there, the Royal Guard, in all red, and he had that amazing soft goods cape. I don't remember who my brother got. It was probably one of the characters from Jabba's palace. I can definitely confirm it was not the Gamorrean Guard, as we both got Gamorrean Guards for Christmas that year. That and 2 Scout Troopers were the first and only time my mother purposely army built for us. The only reason we had 3 Stormtroopers and 2 Snow Troopers was because once I'd lied and said I'd lost my Stormtrooper so I could get a second one, and later my aunt picked up one of each for me and my brother. The week after the Royal Guard, I got Bib Fortuna and my brother got the Endor Rebel Trooper. I remember this because I immediately took off Bib's cloak and tried to put it on the Endor Guard, but it didn't fit. Then I broke Bib's belt. That rubbery thing wasn't very sturdy. The next week on our trip into town, I was feeling dejected. We'd finished all of our shopping, and all that was left was one final stop at the mall, and then to Kroger's to get some groceries with food in between. Kroger's toy department might have some cool figures, but they were always more expensive there, and half the time it was a matter of just settling for whatever was on the pegs of their toy department shelves. After a day of not finding any Masters of the Universe or Strawberry Shortcake miniatures I wanted, there was no Luke, no Boussh, and no General Maydean at our normal stores. General Maydean had quickly become my second most wanted figure after Boussh, mostly because I could use him as a fill-in for the Return from the Dead Tarkin I'd brought into my Star Wars headcanon, and General Dodonna, as well as General Riking. He was 3 old dudes in one. That's a bargain. Our last stop that day was at the United store in the mall where my mother was dropping off her wedding ring to have the diamond cleaned and the setting tightened. I rushed to the toy department to see what they had. United was sometimes a good place to find the newest figures. They were usually $1 or $2 more than Walmart, Kmart, Cellmart, and Howard's, as well as the other department stores, but they were about 50 cents cheaper than brand new KB toys. Things also lasted on the shelves a little bit longer because not everyone thought to go there to look for toys. It was the same store where later I'd find Orko and Prince Adam before anyone I knew had found those figures. Later, right before they went out of business, I'd find Mermista there, long before she showed up on Walmart shelves. However, that was years away. On that day, a full week before Return of the Jedi opened, I found Boussh on the shelf. Spoiler alert, instantly my disappointment in the lack of Leia figures in that first wave of Return of the Jedi was gone. Not only had I found the cool bounty hunter I wanted most, but it was actually Princess Leia in disguise. After this, we went to Long John Silver's to eat. We always ate last thing before we went to the grocery store because my mother was convinced if she didn't eat beforehand, she would buy too many groceries because she was hungry. I took Leia Boussh in, to play with at the table. I made sure not to remove her mask so I wouldn't ruin the surprise of who Boussh really was for my family, although I did later ruin it on the long drive home, about 2 hours later. I was a talker when I played with action figures, and Boussh had to reveal herself as Leia to the merman figure my brother got that day, which, for the record, was the last Wave 1 Masters of the Universe figure needed in our house. That day was kind of a banner day in toy collecting for us, now that I think about it. After we saw Return of the Jedi, and there was no mystery about how big of a role she played, Boussh remained my favorite figure, and I made up a lot of adventures for her and the droids where she tried to rescue Han Solo from Jabba the Hutt without getting captured or put in a dumb gold bikini. It's important to remember that because there wasn't a Return of the Jedi Han Solo yet, and wouldn't be until they released Han Solo in Indoor Trenchcoat in 1984, so I just left Han in Carbonite. I couldn't very well use my Bespin Han. He was still frozen in a block of ice in our freezer. Now, I'm going to stop talking for a bit and let you listen to the music and watch the coloring. happy with how this one turned out. The browns and beiges from the Black Widow set really just captured the feeling of the scene for me. I didn't even dip into my Neo colors or any markers or paint pens to put on the final touches. This is just 100% Black Widow colored pencils. If you liked this video, why not smack that like? And if you'd like to see more, you should subscribe and turn on notifications. Thank you again for watching. This has been Alice and Troy, Retro Toy Princess. I'll see you in the next one.